today's the very important agenda, a very, very important agenda. And that is about BSOP model, and with the bracket it's mentioned AFM BSOP AFM BSOP ACCA AFM BSOP Calculator. Candidates, a very, very important thing. From September 22 onwards, ACCA has published a very important information to you people. A very important information. If examiner will examine Black-Scholes option pricing model, so here left side, the response options includes word processor, spreadsheet, and BSOP calculator. BSOP calculator. This is standard calculator that you people must have to use accordingly. You just put the variable with this values. You just put the variables with this values. For example, if you put the value PA, that's, we will cover the things accordingly during the question. PA, for example, the value of PA, it's 2. Value of PE, that's 1.5. R discount rate 0.08. Let's suppose time 1 year, standard deviation 50%, 0.5. So you just put the things 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These variable automatically identify D1, D2, ND1, ND2, and the identification of call and put option. That means, once again, we just incorporate the values 2, 1.5, 0.08, 1, 0.5. Just incorporate the variables. Just incorporate variables, 5 variables. You will identify C stands for call option value, P stands for put option value. That is what the calculator of BSOP, if examiner examine either section A, section B, if examiner examine BSOP separate spreadsheet calculator available, you just put the variables, identify the answer. You must have to aware about that. This calculator will be available during the exam question, so you don't need to calculate with the complex formula of the call option and put option. But for BSOP, you must have a good command, not just to incorporate the variables, but also the BSOP theoretical assumptions, limitations, and whatever the variables, these variables, what are these variables? You must have to know that what is the meaning of the D1, what is the meaning of D2, what is the meaning of ND1, what is the meaning of ND2, and specifically the meaning of call option with respect to real options values, the value of the meaning of put option with respect to real options. So that is the first thing you must have to aware. Now, the very first thing what we should do with the today's session, with your subject, AFM subject, with your AFM subject, you people must have to aware that the first topic you need to cover, that is option valuation. Number one, you must have to know option valuation. Number 2, how to make value by Black-Scholes, means Black-Scholes option valuation maths. Number 3, how the real options use the model Black-Scholes option pricing. How real options, because real options is an independent topic and real options use the valuation methodology, that's BSOP. Number 4, the theory about the assumptions. For example, assumptions of BSOP and assumptions of real options. You must have to know very well the correlation between the variables used by the BSOP and option valuation. These 4 things that you must have to aware with respect to the syllabus area. You must have to aware. Now quickly, what is the topic about? Just give me 1 minute. Okay, so very basic option valuation. As call option holder, if we wanted to value the call option, so very simple. For example, I am a call option holder and I have the option of a share. Market value of share, for example $100, and the exercise price, it's $80. So as option holder, the immediate advantage is called intrinsic value. The immediate advantage. How much the immediate advantage? That's 20. For example, I have a time of 1 year. So what does that mean? It means that as an option holder, I have a right to exercise this option after 1 year, by paying $80. And by paying $80, I will be able to get the shares who have the value of $100. So I don't know either the shares, I don't know what will be the exact share price after 1 year. But today, whatever the right I have, I can get an advantage, or I can say that the value of my advantage, that's $20. This is intrinsic value. But if someone says that, sir, like the shares, this option, it's also tradable. Like the shares, this option is also tradable. And the value of option, let's suppose in market, it's $25. So what I can say that? I can say that this option is right now trading at $25. But the immediate value is $20. So the difference of 5 is actually about time value. Time value. I can say with the other way. I can say with the other way. For example, if I say you are an option holder, answer me my question. Huh? Let's suppose you are an option holder and you have a right to exercise this option after 1 year. Number one, after 1 year. With the payment of $80 and the share price is right now 100. So immediate value 20. I have a question to you that if I'm saying that share price will increase over the 1 year, not the exercise price will constant. Huh? Share price will increase over 1 year. So if the share price is expecting to increase in 1 year, is this valuable to sell this option right now with 20? Yes or no? Is this valuable to sell this option by $20 if you are expecting that share price will increase more and more over 1 year? Answer me, yes or no? No, it's not worthful to sell the shares, to sell this option with $20. It's better to sell with higher price. So whatever the extra price you are thinking, that is called time value. And intrinsic plus time value called value of option. Value of option. So call option having the variables, call option having variables of intrinsic value and time value. But for intrinsic value, there are two variables. For intrinsic value, there are two variables: market value and exercise price. And intrinsic means immediate. But this time value actually three things. Number one, time. Number two, return. And return assuming discount rate with risk free. And finally, the volatility. That's called standard deviation of P of market value shares. In simple word, BSOP, in simple words, BSOP is a model. Black-Scholes option pricing is a model where we can identify the value of option directly. Some of the students are confused here. Listen carefully. For example, since F9 and in AFM as well, you study different models of value equity. For example, if I say that one of the company's shares in the stock market, and the shares price already exists because it's a tradable shares. Even though the share price available, calculate the value of share by PE ratio or dividend valuation or free cash flow, any other method. You do that or not, do let me know. The share price value, although it's stock market listed, but even examiner asks you to calculate, or in FM or AFM, we calculate the different methods, the equity value, PE ratio, other methods. Yes or no? Same case, option is tradable in the market, but some of the models through which we calculate the option valuation, and one of the method in the syllabus, only one method, that's called BSOP. So by BSOP, we will calculate directly the value of option, complete value of option. And BSOP says there are two variables, two main variables or two main ingredients to calculate BSOP or option value. Number one, intrinsic. Number two, time. Yes, intrinsic having two components, market value of share, exercise price, and time value including these shares, these variables. So in simple words, yes, this one. In simple words, one by one. Call option value by BSOP. This is by BSOP. Variables are intrinsic value. That is market value of share. Market value of share, say PA. Exercise price, that is PE. Time value includes three things. Time to expire the option, that is the years. 1 year means 1. 6 months means 0.5, and so on. Standard deviation, volatility of asset means PA. R means discount rate. Here we will use risk-free rate. That is the point. And now it's a time to calculate to apply these things with the question. Question 1. Quickly, we will work out this question by applying with the ACCA formula spreadsheet available. Now read this question carefully. Read this question carefully. Here examiner says, it's a basic question. The current price of Catherine PLC 3.5. Current price. Using Black-Scholes model, estimate the value of European call option. What is the meaning of European call option? I will tell you. On the shares of the company that exercise price 3.3 and 3 months to run before it expires. Risk-free rate 8%. Variance of the return share by 12%. We require standard deviation, not the variance. And you know that you have to square root of the variance, that's become the standard deviation. Very good. And this is call option. The very important thing is that, first of all, very carefully, you have to identify the variables. Be careful. Number one, PA. PA means market value of share. And that is 3.5. PE, exercise price of share. and that is equal to 3.3. These two variables is about intrinsic value, and remaining about time value. Risk-free rate 0.08. Time, yes, here mentioned 3 months. You have to proportionate, is equal to 3 divided by 12, 0.25. And then standard deviation, that is volatility. Volatility. If variance is equal to 0.12, standard deviation is equal to 0.12 power square root of 0.12, it's power 1.5 or 0.5. So you can calculate is equal to 0.12 power 0.5. That is 35% of 0.35. 0.346. So the important thing is that you have to identify these variables. Then plot this variable with this value. What is this about? PA 3.5, simple. Then 3.3. R 0.08. Time 0.25. Standard deviation 0.346. That's automatically you will identify the answer. That is 0.39. So that's it. We don't need to work out. No, you don't need to work out. Call option value. That is 0.39. That's all. For calculation purpose, that's all. Can you please reply me? Is that clear, all of you? Can you please reply me? Is that clear, all of you? So it's a time saving with respect to calculation. Do remember, don't be over smart. And in fact, it's a wrong thing if you say that, no, sir, I will do myself and show any kind of other working. Examiner particularly mentioned, no. Examiner particularly mentioned, no, you don't need to make any kind of working. This is a straight thing you need to do. So, once again, the very important thing, do remember that, for example, if this is the question, at the left side, word processor, spreadsheet, and BSOP calculator, this will available with your question. If examiner examine BSOP model, so this BSOP calculator will be available by name BSOP calculator. So is that clear, everyone? Okay, candidates. So that is what about the calculation aspect that we have done. But I strongly suggest some more things you need to consider. Some more things. First of all, a little more things you need to know that may reflect on your theoretical aspect. You know very well that this is with respect to the regular studies. This is what about yes. This is what about the complete BSOP formula. This is call option is equal to PA. PA means market value share minus PE exercise price. This is the exam formula. Previously it was mentioned and it's mentioned with the book as well. What is ND1? ND1 is a normal distribution, standard normal distribution. ND2, that's normal distribution. E exponential minus RT. Minus RT. And this is the complete D1 formula, D2 formula. Previously, all of the working, previously examiner was expecting to mention all of the workings, but now you don't need, because just input the things, it's automatically identified D1, D2, ND1, ND2, C and P. That's important. Yes. Second one, this is call option value. Another one is about put option parity. That is call option minus PA plus PE, E minus RT. So even though if you require the put option, you don't need, because put parity also built in with this BSOP calculator. So that should be very much clear. But one more thing you have to aware that, one important thing I strongly suggest for the calculation. If you are calculating the option value, by default the formula. So value means now. So there are two important components. PE, that is market value of share. And you know very well, if you right now calculate value of something, so now means you are standing at 0. So by default, you are calculating the option value. So first variable is market value of share. That means by default, market value means present value of future cash flows. That is the present value future cash flows. That's the first thing. So PE by default, present value future cash flow. But I'm asking a very important thing. Yes, sorry, it's PA. I'm sorry, that is PA. I'm sorry, PA, market value share. But I'm asking very important thing. If you are call option holder, now listen carefully. Now the market value of share, where you say PA is 100. Now value is 100. And exercise price is equal to 80. It's 80. It's standing now, It's standing now, 80. And you have, for example, 2 years time. 2 years time. Let's suppose one of the example, 2 years time. Must have to reply me when you have an actual right to exercise this price 80. When the 80 you will spend out of your pocket, now or after 2 years, now or after 2 years, now or after 2 years. Very good. So actually this 80 in the practical term, that is about after 2 years. This 80 is about after 2 years. Here, 2 years time, after 2 years. That's important. So you will exercise, you will spend, you will spend, you will invest. Same meaning. Invest, spend. 80 after 2 years. That is after 2 years. Huh? So one thing you must have to aware. One thing. Whenever we are calculating option value. So you required all the variables with now. So PA is by default market value of share, that is present value future cash flow. It's by default now. But PE actually after 2 years. But in this formula, the formula you are using, there is an variable called E minus RT. There is a thing that is ERT. Actually, this ERT apply with this PE. PE means exercise price. PE means exercise price. PE means exercise price. And when this PE indulge with E minus power minus RT, this is automatically the present value of future cash flow about exercise price. But how the maths happen, don't worry, examiner is not expecting. Examiner never expect. Very simple. This point is important for theoretical aspect and for solving the question with reasonings. What I said to you, whenever you calculate the value of option, you need the variables now terms. Now terms means PA, market value of share, now terms. PE, now terms. Exercise price minus RT. So how the exercise price that will actually happen after 2 years will provide the value now. That will provide the value by E and the variable that's called minus RT. So you must be careful for this. Number one, do reply me. Is that clear, all of you? Number one, in the practical world, here what I said to you, we the option holder have a right to exercise this option after 2 years. Exercise this option after 2 years. Exercise after 2 years. It's mentioned after 2 years. But do remember that in the practical world, it may be possible that we, the option holder, have a right to exercise the option anywhere during 2 years. Anywhere. We are casual. We have a freedom to exercise during the 2 years. So there is a difference during the 2 years or exactly after 2 years. If the option right during the 2 years, this is called American call option. And if says exactly after 2 years, this is called European call option. Do remember that we are discussing only European call option. The BSOP model assume that we are working with, or the calculation is based on the complete mathematics of this formula based on European call options. We can say that there is limitation. If there are some question, they mention that something for the investment or exercising the options during 2 years. So you will mention with the question. There is an assumption that we have to opt the option at the end of the 2 years, and the calculation is based on this. You can use the PSM, professional skill marks. Can anybody reply what professional marks you can apply here? What professional marks you have apply here? You can apply here. You can apply here. What professional marks? About the limitations, about the assumptions, what professional marks? Yes, quickly. Very good. This skepticism, you can challenge that information. Skepticism means challenge the information, challenge the assumption, challenge the information, challenge the assumptions. So that is called skepticism. You can also indulge with business acumen. Business acumen means be practical. Be practical. So be practical here. The point is that we are here just to exercise the option after 2 years. But the practical thing is that we can exercise any of the 2 years time. So that is the point. That is the point we have to learn here. We have to learn. That's how to incorporate theory, and what the professional skill marks we have to incorporate here. Okay, can you please all reply me? Are you people with me? Are you getting the points? Not only about the calculation. If you are a champion of the calculations, it's not necessary that you will be able to qualify the exam. Theory, drafting, assumptions, challenges, all things are important. That's a key point. That is what some assumptions I have mentioned with this sheet. The point, that is assumptions, BSOP assumptions, European call option. Assumption, the discount rate we are here, the value of option is based on risk-free rate. Return may be different, but you have to take the risk-free rate. And this risk-free rate are constant over the time. Assumption, using discount rate, risk-free, that will constant. We use the standard deviation. Standard deviation means the value of option based on the volatility of the share price. Whatever the volatility in the past, that will occur same in the future. Assumption. And the very important thing, three more important thing. But first one, assume no transaction cost. Exercising the option, there is no transaction cost. Moreover, that means if you study the option with the forex or interest to pay some premium initially, you have to ignore with BSOP option, but no transaction cost, no premium cost. We will use the table, this table having a background of normal distribution, the stats we use. And the very important thing, you must have to assume that during the exercise, 1 year, 2 year, whatever the time, there is no expected returns. No expected returns. No dividend is payable before expiry. If examiner mentions some returns or dividend during the exercise price, you have to ignore this, because we will not incorporate any expected returns with that exercise price. That is the point. And examiner expecting a good command with respect to this assumption. That is the point. So that is what the assumptions point. The assumptions point. Yes, of course, we will discuss a scenario, a question, a scenario, this question, and where we will discuss the thing how assumptions will apply with a particular scenario, how we will draft and how incorporate the PSM. Don't worry, this is the part of the session. Everything we will discuss. Everything. Don't worry. This one is the theoretical part. How incorporate the professional marks with the BSOP. Don't worry, this is a part of the course. That is my responsibility to handle the thing accordingly. Now, this is the first part of the syllabus. That's number one. How to calculate the value of BSOP. What the assumption of BSOP. What's the variable in the BSOP. Now, this BSOP technique, important. This BSOP technique we can use with our syllabus area. That is called real option. That is called real option. With the real option, there is a topic called strategic NPV. I strongly suggest take a 3 to 4 minutes short break. Take a 3 to 4 minutes short break. We will start the session after the short break accordingly. Thank you.